This job, we try to save as many people as we can. Sometimes that doesn't mean everybody. But you don't give up.
Hi, welcome to What the Flick. Summer is here. Woohoo! You thought it began with Batman v Superman, but no, it really begins in earnest today with Captain America, Civil War. Christy and Alonso and Matt. And Matt's going to describe to us the latest from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes, so when last we saw Captain America in his own movies, his best friend Bucky was out on the run, was trying to remember who he was. Cap was going to go look for him. Then the events of the Avengers happened.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron happened. And, you know, there's a lot of death and destruction. This movie starts off with an attack that happens that the Avengers come in and stop, and there's some collateral damage, and that leads Tony Stark to, and a few other people, including Thunderbolt Ross, to say, you know what, these Avengers are dangerous. They need to be controlled by governmental organizations. And Cap says, you know, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe there's an agenda at play here. And they fight over it. And this movie is rad. Let's watch a clip.
New York. Washington, D.C. Sokovia.
Okay, that's enough.
Captain, people are afraid.
I know we're not perfect. But the safest hands are still our own. I was wrong about you. The whole world was wrong about you.
Stay down. Final warning.
I could do this all day.
Okay, so we'll do a whole separate spoiler talk.
Right.
This is spoiler free. Ding, 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 spoiler free.
Right.
So we see the movie, then watch our spoiler talk later. So let's try and be spoiler free if we can here.
Yeah, I mean, look, like, as much as the plot that I talked about, that's all in the trailers. That's all there, so.
And characters are in the trailers.
And characters are in the trailers too,
new
right? So
characters
it's not a
are in the
spoiler that
trailers.
Spider-Man shows up. It's not a spoiler that we see Black Panther. This movie's terrific. I love this movie. It's a great start to the summer. This movie does everything right that Batman v Superman does wrong. It earns the drama that it wants to convey, to the point that there's a point in this movie that I felt approached the level of Greek tragedy. Like, you have characters that are fighting, and you feel bad. You're emotionally invested that they're fighting, and you see both sides of it, and you realize how events have conspired to get them to this point. Look, this movie is a little bit overblown. It's not perfect. It does a lot in here. It's adding things that are, you know, call them commercials, call them teasers for upcoming movies. But even then, those work.
They
don't
all
necessarily.
do those, though.
They all
That's
do.
part of the deal, right?
They don't
They're all
drive the story
intertwined.
forward. You could cut probably 20 minutes out and
It's
have a
long.
tighter movie. This movie is long, but it's terrific. It's fun and breezy and light and dramatic. And again, this is what we want out of the last Avengers movie, out of Batman v Superman. This is what a superhero movie should be.
Yeah, the Russos have figured out this great formula here, right? So with this one, you've got a lot of self-reverence and self-reference too, because it recognizes the inherent disaster stuff that goes on in these movies. I mean,
Right.
so often you have entire cities being decimated and skyscrapers falling on people and millions fleeing in terror. It's just like glossy and fun and part of the spectacle and part of the adventure. So this movie dares to actually acknowledge that, like,
Right.
real shit goes down
Without-
and real lives are at stake,
Without
but
doing
not
what
being
a Zack,
preachy.
right,
Without
doing
doing
what a
the
Zack
Zack
Snyder
Snyder
movie
movie
does,
does.
which is
Not
like
preachy and
turn it
horribly-
into a funeral dirge and
Yeah.
make it seem horrific.
Right, no, it's not. I mean, it recognizes it from a very smart, honest perspective, but also it's self-referential in all the fun ways that all the Marvel movies are, like pop culture references and acknowledgments of who these other characters are within the Marvel world and how they are now intertwined and how much fun can be had with that. It's real. It's real here, people. It's not glossy CGI stuff here. Go ahead.
I enjoyed myself, and I did like this film. I didn't think it was as good as Winter Soldier. To me, that was a movie that did a better job of sort of giving us character stuff and like little superhero tidbits that we want, and then also a genuine story and a story that is relevant to what's going on in the world. This movie, I think, it makes a good effort towards all those things, but it feels overstuffed. It feels like there's too much happening and there's too many characters and they can't quite service all the notes they want to hit. I do think you're right. The movie's very good about. Dave always likes to harp on the fact that superhero movies, as we now know them, basically are all in one way or another responding to 9/11. They're about how we perceived 9/11, how we saw it happen on our TV screens, and the world that exists since then, and how we feel in it as far as our own sense of vulnerability and danger. And
Right,
you know,
it's similar to the kaiju movies coming out of Japan and post
absolutely World War II. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So you know, I think it definitely hits a lot of those notes and it does it well. I did not come out of this feeling like I had seen not just like a really good superhero movie, but a really good movie the way that Winter Soldier did for me. This one was sort of like, well, of what we get in these movies, I'm getting pretty much what I want, and it's being told pretty well. And so yes, I mean, I'm good with it. I'm not panning this movie, but I think it was a little oversold for me going in. Some of those early reviews were so rapturous.
Aren't they all overselling? Like, aren't the early ones always so? Like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Maybe, yeah.
One person dares to come along and not like it.
But no, I mean, it's fine. It's good. It's one. I had to do a ranking for the wrap of like the MCU movies, and I put it sort of solidly in the middle. But it's I don't know. Winter Soldier with this same writers and same directors really kind of, I think elevated my expectations, and it didn't quite hit them. But the parts that work really well, and the things that you go to a superhero movie to see, you are gonna get.
Yeah,
in spades.
I found it really, really satisfying. It's a really, really tricky balance that it pulls off between being thrilling and being heady. Between being funny and being serious, but never being too heavy-handed. So I walked out of it really impressed with the balancing act that goes on here. Yes, there are too many characters, and it took me a few big mishmashes to realize, okay, who's on what side with whom. I couldn't always remember.
Right.
And I took Nicholas with me in the car on the way home. We're like, okay, wait, who did Cap get? And who did Iron Man get? And maybe that's the point. It doesn't matter which side they're on, man, because the battle is futile. Maybe that's the point. I don't know.
I disagree with you. I think that this is in the upper echelons of Marvel movies. This is one of their better films, and I actually think this is a better, even I hate to use the word tighter, but it's at least more cohesive than the last Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, no question.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
and honestly, maybe calling this a Captain America movie kind of undersells what it really is, because it really is an Avengers movie. It really is about...
And then some.
And then some. But it really is about the Avengers, following up the last Avengers movie, following up some of the events of Winter Soldier, but this really is about the larger team rather than just Captain America and how he's dealing with things. And I understand from a marketing standpoint why you have to call this a Captain America movie, but really it is an Avengers movie, and I think that if you look at it that way, this is maybe the best of the Avengers movies. And
I don't know. The first one was
I still like the
good.
first one a lot.
Yeah.
maybe
This is really
I
good
don't.
too. They're neck and neck.
Yeah, look, this is a terrific movie. I absolutely loved it. I think that I think it is a very, very good movie. It may not be quite as great as Winter Soldier, but I think Winter Soldier is, in a weird way, telling a more personal story about Captain America,
Sure.
whereas, and Steve Rogers. And this is more about Steve and Tony and Bucky and Natasha and all of these characters together, and it's more of a kind of ensemble piece. And for a movie that has to hit a lot of notes, and we've complained on this show, I know I have complained about the corporate mandated filmmaking where you have to check all the boxes. This one, they check all the boxes with a bullet, and they make it awesome. Okay, yeah, I got to work 5 other characters in there? All right, sure, fine. We got to tease 2 other upcoming movies? Sure, fine, make it happen. We're stuck with all this continuity of all these other movies, sure, fine, we'll make it work. And I mean, honestly, like, I kind of want to see the Russo brothers call up Joss Whedon and be like, yeah, that's how it's done.
And drop the mic.
But I think Whedon did it better in the first Avengers movie.
In
than
the
this
first
does it.
one, but...
No, this is better than Ultron. I'll
Right.
totally give you that. I will say the people on the internet who have that weird thing about where they have to not only love Batman v Superman, but also hate all the Marvel movies. Like they can't like both of them. The canard they like to throw at the Marvel movies are, oh yeah, they're jokey and brightly colored. And yes, this one is jokey and it's brightly colored, but it also has, I think, as you were saying, genuine dark moments and genuine sort of character moments of sort of dealing with heavy shit, and also things happen that are serious and grim, and you can tell those stories and cover that kind of material without being sludgy
Totally
Zack
dour.
Snyder about it all the
It's
time.
raining constantly.
Yeah.
I want to mention really fast because we should talk about some performances here. We all know what Chris Evans can do and what Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. can do. I really love Tom Holland. I really love Tom Holland. I'm not going to go anywhere near spoiler territory.
Yeah.
I will say he is an awesome addition.
He's
No
an awesome
question.
addition and leaves his own stamp on Spider-Man.
Which we've seen so many times.
Look, this is the Spider-Man that we know and love.
Yeah.
We love Spider-Man. We know what he's like, but it's enough of a different take. It's its own performance. It's its own character.
It's really fun.
It's terrific.
Yeah, it's fun and it's sweet and it's smart, and he might be my favorite
Chadwick
part of the whole
Boseman
movie.
is good?
He's really great in it. Yes, I mean, yeah, we'll get to other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, but that was maybe a highlight for me.
Daniel
was
Bruhl.
Daniel Bruhl.
Daniel
Good
Bruhl.
at everything.
He's okay. He doesn't really.
good at everything.
He is good at everything. He doesn't get much to do here, I don't think. It's a pretty standard issue kind of role, and he plays it in a fairly standard issue kind of way.
And that's what we're going to say about that for now. Okay, so what are your numbers then before we go to...
I gave it, what, a 7.1?
Oh, you hated this movie.
my God.
Clearly, yeah.
He's the guy to go after, right?
No, don't go.
No, I liked the movie. I just didn't love the movie.
That's not enough. That's not enough. You gotta
Apparently,
love
well,
it.
sorry.
7.1 for you. I'm saying 8.3. What do you say?
I give it a 9.5. I think it's damn near perfect for what it sets out to be, and I would say that everybody at Warner Brothers in DC needs to take some notes.
There you go. So if you've seen the movie, then please enjoy what we're going to do next, which is our spoiler talk. Bye-bye.